Hi, welcome to the coaching game. I'm Laurie Lawson, and da-da-da-da.
And I'm Terry Yoffe. Welcome.
So I'm
to
thinking it's
Coaching
going to be
Game today.
coaches creating change. And today we are going to live up to our name. We're going to talk about change.
Change. The power of making changes, where most people will go,
Yeah, some of
Right,
the
so-
roadblocks that prevent you,
right,
and some
exactly.
of the good reasons why you
Right,
should.
Exactly, yes. you know.
Start us off with a quote, and let's see what we can do with that.
Oh, well,
I knew she
I
had
actually,
one.
I have a few in my arsenal.
Yes.
One that I use for one of my blogs, which I really love, and it's by Marilyn Ferguson. She's an American author and public speaker. No one can persuade another to change. Each of us guards a gate of change that can only be opened from the inside. We cannot open the gate of another, either by agreement or by emotional appeal.
Wow. I love that. Yeah, you can't open the gate to an. I love that. What a great idea, but true, I think. Tell us, do it again. I'm sorry. It was so
Okay.
cool. It's so nice to do it
says-
twice.
And it's so obvious, but not.
Yeah,
So-
because we spend so much time trying to change other people,
Right.
so that's what it's
Right.
like. Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So no one can persuade another to change. Each of us guards a gate of change that can only be opened from the inside. We cannot open the gate of another, either by agreement or by emotional appeal.
So we're not talking about how you can get your husband to take out the garbage. We are talking about, or how you can get your best friend to stop asking you nosy questions. We're not talking about that. We're talking about inner change.
Isn't that where it really starts?
Yeah.
And I believe as a coach that your inner and your outer mirror each other. So depending on where you are in your inner will mirror what's going on in your outer. And I'm sure you've
I think
seen
that's,
that.
yeah.
And it's up to the individual to come to the conclusion, I need to make changes that will serve me better. And, I'll throw another one,
Okay.
which I love, which, goes along with today's ever-changing landscape and business landscape. And it's by General Eric Shinseki. And it says, if you dislike change, you're going to dislike irrelevance even more.
And you know what? The first thing that came to mind was all of the stores and all of the businesses, big time businesses, that have gone out because they didn't change with the times. I'm thinking Sears.
Right.
I'm thinking Toys R Us. I think they're coming back for Christmas, but just for Christmas, because they didn't make the changes that were necessary that other
Right.
companies were bringing
Well,
on.
it's about changing. They have to change their business model,
Right.
right? And that takes a lot to think about in today's world of the Amazons. So when you think of retailing or Barnes and Noble and anything that you would go to physically, now is at your fingertips.
I mean, I'm all day long click and shop, click and shop. It's like I do
I
it.
am not one of them.
I am, and I dislike myself for doing it, but it's so easy, and to go to a store seems so. That's just a
Yes.
different thing. Well, I'm gonna go back to the first one just to say that. How do you know? You don't have to wait for the perfect time to change. There's a quote, and I swear I'm going to look this up and find out who said it because I use it all the time. But it's all change comes from negativity. It's when you know something's wrong. It's like if you're walking down Paradise Alley and you're not going to change. You'd be stupid if you did. But if you're down there going, oh man, this job is killing me. The kids aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Something's wrong. That's when you know you've got to change. So don't wait for the optimal situation. It's not going to happen. You're not. If you have it optimal, you're not going to change. Why would you?
Well, yes, and especially when we talk about today's business landscape as, the word VUCA, right? Volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous landscape where change is, the norm. if you're not willing to change, you will get pushed aside. It's a mindset, and I think people know it when they keep doing the same thing and it's not working. It doesn't serve them any longer.
The definition of insanity, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, when somebody is willing to stop and say, wait a second, I'm not getting that promotion, I'm not being recognized, I'm, you know, the landscape of my work environment has changed and I haven't. It's like, yikes.
Yeah.
What do I need to do? And I think it comes at that moment where somebody actually realizes, I'm not sure what the change has to be, but I know I've got patterns and behaviors that aren't working anymore, and rather than clinging to the old belief systems or, you know, the preconceived notions, they have to figure out how to make that change.
And change is frightening. But I know one of IPEC's foundation principles is the only, and I'm sure it's other training modes also, the only constant is change.
Right.
So to cling is just going to be it's such an extension of energy for not.
And, you know, I'm going to talk in the article, which
Yeah,
I loved,
yeah.
which I found by, I think, Dan Rockwell, How People Weasel Out of Change and Justify Staying the Same. So when change confronts them, yes, but look at Susie.
Yes,
and
but,
it did.
yeah.
So they have all of these reasons why they aren't going to change. And in the end, it only comes back to really hurt them and their careers.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know, is this a good time when you could change yes but to yes and?
Yeah, that's why I said yes.
Yeah. I think because you're right. When you don't want to change, it's like but you know
Right.
this worked last year, and look at my sales last year.
Right, exactly.
And but it's like yes, this worked last year, and I need to come up with a different approach for this year or whatever.
It
is.
takes a lot as coaches. I think our main goal is to help people shine the light on what's not serving them, or they even bring it to the coaching and they see it, and then to look at how do we make the changes. And that's the challenging part, to help somebody loosen the ties or binds of what kept them doing the same thing in place.
Right.
So it's not an easy journey.
No.
When you think about it.
It's not. But change isn't easy. And I think Brene Brown has this wonderful thing with the courage, and you can't have
Right.
courage and vulnerability,
Right.
One without the other. And
Right.
it's like, yeah, you're going to have a little courage there. But, and I was going to say, you know, you don't have to wait until you go, oh, okay, I need a change. I would say you could use a coach to find out what's not working here. And then determine, okay, I might need to change because this isn't working. So again, it comes to listening to that little voice inside you that's saying, I don't know, this doesn't seem right to me. Something's not right. Yeah.
Or it's getting fired.
That's a change.
I mean, some emotional event that puts the brakes on. You don't get that promotion.
Yeah.
And they say, well, you had to have stepped up to here, but you didn't. Or you didn't, get picked as part of a team. Or they restructure and they restructure you out.
I was just going to say downsizing, or even the whole company liquidates and is gone. Yeah,
you were irrelevant to where the vision is for the company today. And if companies aren't looking at that vision of where do we need to go to be relevant, like the Sears, like Toys R Us, like the department stores or whatever is going out of business because they don't have the foresight to see where do we need to be, what's the pulse of the landscape today.
Absolutely. And it's like, okay, so let's say you may be going along and you may be doing a great job, and then suddenly you get downsized. And it's like, so what you could do is say, okay, well, I've really tops in marketing and sales. Or you could go, what do I need to update? What do I need to update? Or also do an evaluation. Is this really the job that I wanted, Because I put all this energy in. And so it's a great opportunity. A change is an opportunity, or an opportunity is change. I don't know. They're both interchangeable. No pun intended. But so, yeah, either way, you might be ready for a change, or someone might tell you, change. But either way.
Right, and it might not be in the way you would have wanted to be told. So I think everybody, whether you're the leader, certainly, or you're the staff or the, teams, or it's about changing a perspective even, changing an attitude,
Right.
changing an action. If you're Debbie Downer or Nancy Naysayer,
Right.
it's not going to fly.
Yeah. Or well, no, I don't think it will fly. I was going to say, or it might if you're in that kind of environment, but why would you want to be in that kind of environment?
That's the other thing. I have a new client that has put herself in toxic environments, which the norm is trying to move away from that type of corporate culture today.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
into a more emotional intelligence type of culture.
And that's a great example of change too. Employers suddenly realize, oh, you know what? It's not all profits and structures, and we've got to do this, and here's the sales ratio, and here's this. Suddenly it's like, oh, I'm managing people. I'm managing people who have emotions, and I need to nurture these people, and I need to train them, but I also need to nurture them. And I think that's where you're seeing a lot of change coming about now in the business world.
Right.
The emotional intelligence.
I think companies are trying to move in that direction. It's like trying to turn a ship around. It takes a while to get it to turn.
Yeah, but at least they got their hands on the wheel, so it's good. It's a good start. It's a good start. And there are some companies that are doing amazing things. Tell us what's going on with ICF Global, because speaking of change.
Yeah, speaking of change, and this is very exciting because, ICF is a global coaching organization which most people that are coaches are members of. And what they have done is they have embarked on a video testimonials called Experience Coaching. And it's a video testimonial campaign to demonstrate the power of change by showing coach-client exchanges. And they're 3-minute videos I'm going to show.
Guess who was the very first coach that they highlighted?
So I was fortunate enough to be the first coach to be highlighted. And actually one of my clients, Amy, was very willing to be part of it. She was willing to break confidentiality and to tell her story. And her story was, how do you become your best self? So she came to me and coaching with this in mind. And I don't have I couldn't do a video of it, so I have little pictures here. So this is what the homepage of it looks like, and
where can they find this? They're going to have to go to coachfederation.org,
and
then
right there, they are showing right up front the videos. So there are 3. So there is New York City, which is ours. And here I am with my client talking about her challenges. And she goes on to the video is only 3 minutes. But right off the bat, what did she come to coaching for? And what stood out for her image of the Statue of Liberty, which meant a beacon of light, strength. And that was her image, and that's what she talks about. So it's a 3.5-minute video
And I'm gonna
with her.
give you one of Terry's coaching secrets, which I thought was really cool when I read it, when I saw it. So she was, I think Amy was trying to figure out, oh, what's my role in this place? And so Terry said, okay, good, let's get our chessboard out and see, where are you? And that really brought it home to her. So it was fascinating to hear her tell it, how that happened.
Yeah.
Well, what a good tool that was.
Yeah,
I don't
and
know if you always do
and they
that, but it's
did it.
great.
No, I don't. But it was just came up. The second one is, so ICF is international, was in Dubai, at the United Arab Emirates. I think I pronounced it right. And this is the story of Siba, who is the client, and her coach, which Suhar, and her problem or her challenge was, how do you overcome obstacles? And things she had to change with her coach to overcome these obstacles.
Yeah. I remember I had a mentee, and I think she's the only coach that's in Kuwait. And I'm always amazed in the Middle East. It's like, yes, that's so
Yeah,
exciting that it's coaching's everywhere
Right.
now. It's
Yes,
just so exciting. And
every
everybody needs
globe.
change. And
Right.
what's her name?
Siba.
Siba needed change.
Right.
Fantastic.
And then they went to Vancouver, British Columbia, and that's that. And there was Judy, who wanted to figure out how to go from good to great, which is
Oh.
fabulous.
Now that's a
and
change.
Suzanne was her coach. And of course, it talks about the interaction. What were the challenges? How did she make the changes in all of these? And there are three more to come, which I cannot talk about, so I'm
There's
leaving it at
secrets.
that. So
I want to. This is. Will they see this when they go to the website?
Yeah.
This
I
front thing.
pulled these off of the
fantastic.
website.
Okay.
So please, it's coachfederation.org. Each one is 3 minutes, and
It's a little
It's-
snippet of what
yeah.
you're going to see in a coaching session.
Right, exactly.
And the benefits and
Right.
how the person has changed and grown. And it's just,
what their experience
Yeah.
have been since their coaching relationship with coaches in general, and it really brings home the power of change and in working with a coach, and helping somebody make the changes.
Yeah,
So,
and there are many different ways, and they're all. You're a good coach is going to tailor it to the individual.
Right.
It's like if you say get your chessboard out, I go, I don't know what all those little pieces are. Amy loved it. Brought it home to her exactly what she wanted.
I don't even know how we came up with the chessboard, but she had to figure out who were the people she was interacting with in her company. And I have no idea how that came up. And as she says in the video, the people she needed were not even on her radar screen. The people she needed to align herself with,
Yeah.
and who she was aligning with that weren't as important. Not that they weren't important, but it opened up the door for her to start to understand. And, it's all a game. No matter where you are, if you're at work, what's the dance you're doing, right? Who are you dancing with, whether you're in your personal life or your business life?
Yeah.
Who do you need to be partnering with?
I'm sure you helped her clarify. Okay, what do you want? What
Right.
is the problem?
Right.
Where do you want to be? And then how do you get there?
Right.
And I think that was so innovative. To where do you fit on this board? Where do you
Right.
fit in this company? So,
Exactly.
And that's what coaches are trained to do, to give you another perspective, so that you can make a change, or you can say, hey, this is where I want to be, and I'm going to put my efforts here. But at least you need to go out there and venture and say, okay, is it time for change? What do I want? And is what I'm doing getting me that? What's it costing me?
Yeah, exactly. What's it costing me? And, and one of the things that on my blog we talk about is, what is one small change that you can make You don't have to look at, oh my God, there are 30. But what's
Right.
one, if you're doing this yourself, you know, and you're self-aware, what's one small change that you can make, and what's the emotion that keeps coming up with this change or the idea of it? You know, what's keeping you from making it? Is it overwhelming? Is it fear? Is it vulnerability, as you had said?
And also, I find it so helpful if you can, if you're going to put options on the table, then match them to your values. Because so many times you get lost. It's like, I know that my value is 100% honesty. But then also I'll let someone else get away with it. And it's like, oh, why'd I do that? You know, just so you got to you have to match what you want to your values also. And how can you change what isn't hitting your value? If you're ignoring one of your values or not giving it as much credit as you should, how can you make that change? So there's a couple of ways, you know, that you do that. Not ICF, points of view. We have so many things going on here.
Right.
Points of view has a process where it's like you say, what's a change you can make tomorrow?
Right.
What's a change you can make in a week, in a month, and in 3 months, you know? And that way that keeps you a little bit on track. So, but it's a change. It's not like, what can you continue doing? You know, it's like, what can you change?
Yeah, and it's sometimes you need somebody because you don't see it yourself.
No.
You're so entrenched and committed that, you know, you don't see what needs to happen. I had a client that we started working together, and she was so negative. And I brought it up to her, and she said, huh? Had no idea.
Right.
Until she became aware of it. And it was like a light bulb went off.
Right.
That she didn't see it. And we don't see ourselves sometimes. And, you know.
Quite often. I mean, and we rely on old data. It's like, well, it's always been that way. How many times have you heard somebody say that, or that's just the way it is? It's like, no, it's not.
not and especially not in today's landscape. Well, that's the way it was, General Motors or some of these other companies.
Right.
Well, this is the way we always did it. Why doesn't it work today?
Right.
100%. If somebody is making those statements, they are either out the door or their company will be disband.
Yeah, obsolete at some point.
Obsolete,
yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not, and we're not saying, you know, past successes do count, and so what worked? Now, what can we make better? You know, what do we need to change to keep up with the pace? And I'm very glad that I'm not in a fast-paced industry, because I don't know how you keep up with the changes. It's exhausting just reading about it. So.
Also, coaches have to make changes. You know, what the landscape was 16 years ago, or ICF got started 20 years ago, 20-some-odd years ago. The whole notion of coaching has shifted in that many years.
Definitely.
And if clients come to coaching, they want something different than that they may
or
have
relevant.
wanted.
And it may was because I'm a 2004 graduate, and I just finished getting some update on my training, because it's like, my gosh, they have changed so many things. I need to know, what are you telling students, you know, and I wanted an update. And and there have been major changes. First of all, we had to validify coaching back then. You know, nobody knew what it was. Now people know what it is. It's just like, how's it going to help me?
Right.
You know, how's this going to help me?
Nobody says, you a baseball coach?
No,
or
not
football?
anymore.
Yeah,
They used
sports
to.
Coach? Right.
They used
right.
to.
Didn't
but
understand it. But I would bet every successful person has a coach.
Yes,
I
think
has
so.
them on speed dial.
I think so. And before, it used to be a little embarrassing to it. Now it's like a status symbol. Yeah, I got a coach. I have two. Yeah. Business and personal. Yeah.
It's just the way things are done. It's a way of having somebody that you trust, and we go to vulnerability, that you're willing to be vulnerable with, that is there challenging you and holding that mirror up, as I say, so you can't look away. So you have to
Right.
stare down what's going on and what's keeping you from getting whatever it is you want to get to.
Yeah.
Even in your personal life.
Definitely, definitely. And I think one of the things coaches facilitate and sometimes even inspire change with their coaching, but also accountability. And I think that's one of the
Right.
major roles of a coach too. It's like, okay, so you want to change, how are you going to be accountable for that? You know, because we can all say, how many diets have we started January 1st, right? And how long does that last? But if you have to be accountable, and it's like, okay, I'm accountable for my change here.
Right.
And it means, okay, this didn't work. So you go to your coach and you tweak it and you go, you know, this didn't work, or what can I do differently?
Right.
Again,
Right.
for the change. So I think change is the underlying feature of coaching. It's like you're there because something needs to change, and coaches are going to kind of help you get there.
And then there are those that come to coaching and realize it's not for them because they're not willing to do the work.
Exactly.
That
Exactly.
happens.
Yeah.
That
It
happens.
does. And that's okay. I mean, kudos to you for trying, and come back when you are ready to make the change.
So,
Because we're not going to tell you,
no.
oh, okay, we're not going to blame other people. Yeah, I see why that's a problem, you know, because of your boss. We're going to ask you, what can you do about it? You know, what can you change in this situation? And if there's nothing, you might need a new situation.
Right.
That's okay, too.
No, exactly. So here's the last quote.
Okay.
You can't change what's going on around you until you start changing what's going on within you.
Yeah, yeah.
And
The secret lies within.
It's an inside job, as we talked about.
Yeah.
It's all about you wanting to make the change. Nobody can force somebody, and that's what I think Marilyn Ferguson was talking about.
Yeah.
That it's up to the individual.
And I think change is an opportunity. It's like, imagine how boring it would be if you started work at age 16 and you retired at age 65 and it was the same job. It's
Right,
like, oh.
exactly.
So you want some change. All right, so we're going to, if we
Wrap
didn't
up.
inspire you, we're going to hope that ICF's, CoachFederation.org's experience coaching snippets, of which do watch the first one at least, is going to inspire you, because these are actual people who have gone to actual coaches and telling their stories and how much better they feel their lives are now. So I would say tune into us, because we're going to keep talking about change, and we'll be back next month.
Yes.
But also, CoachFederation.org, experience change, and you will see the lovely Terry Yoffe.
Oh, thank you. And thank you all for listening, and we'll see you soon.
Yes.